Hello, everybody out there. So for today's video, I wanted to do a video on hopefully 10 tips. Excuse me. I never actually know. As I put out more content, some of the videos that I filmed during the middle of this little quarantine fun time that we've been all having together, some of my videos do have like numbers of tips in the title, but the title is not always correct because it seems to change once I start rolling and talking my butt off. So we'll see how many tips we actually get to, but I'm trying to do 10. So 10 tips to improve your gym experience, especially if you are brand new or like newer to the gym. Because ultimately, if you've been going to the gym for 6 months to a year, it's very plausible that you probably have an idea, or even longer, have an idea of like what you're actually doing in the gym. But I did have a couple people recently who have been going to the gym with their New Year's resolution, asking like for some things that they can do to like kind of just improve, or maybe just like make their overall workout routine or like their fitness like life in the gym actually better. So for tip number 1, it's actually going to be drink enough water. I can't stress to you how important it is to drink water. You can literally Google it. It's really important, especially for going to the gym. As far as how much, I mean, I'm not going to tell you the exact amount. Yet again, you can Google the exact amount that you think you need to have. For myself, usually it's around a gallon, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but kind of ranges in there. Typically I would say if your, it sounds kind of bad, but if your pee's like orange or some other nasty color, you should definitely stop and realize you need to drink more water or you're gonna die. So that'd be my tip number 1. Tip number 2 is going to be make sure that you're eating some sort of easy to digest or quick acting protein and carbs before you go to the gym. Something like, and by quick or simple, literally it could be something as simple as like chicken breast or like turkey or salmon or anything that's not super fatty like beef. Basically, just don't have like beef or steak. Something that's quick protein and then quick carbs, whether that's white rice, pasta, like sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, whatever you want. Something that's not gonna like take up too much time to digest. And also obviously don't like stuff yourself so full that you can't go train, because you usually want to eat that meal anywhere from a half hour to an hour before you go train. It really depends on you and how fast you digest your food. Obviously, if you feel really full still, excuse me, if you feel really full still, you shouldn't go train yet. You should wait a little bit longer so your body actually digests, because if you have food in your stomach, then it's going to kind of mess up your workout. You're going to start pulling blood away from your muscles because your stomach's going to digest and your body's going to be kind of out of whack. So don't be eating too close or too full to like when you actually train. As far as for tip number 3, this is kind of a little bit of a funny one for me because it's very debated in the gym community. Don't drink too much caffeine. It sounds pretty straightforward, but a lot of energy drinks or pre-workouts you take are going to have too much caffeine in them. And as far as like amounts, pretty much if you take more than or drink more or have more than 250 to 300 milligrams of caffeine before you train, you're actually going to have negative effects. After that amount of caffeine starts to vasoconstrict, which literally means it's taking your blood vessels like this and it constricts them like this. Like obviously it's not closing because you're still going to be alive, but it's going to make it harder for blood and nutrients to actually flow to the muscles that you're trying to work on. Doesn't even matter if you're running, like it's going to restrict like blood flow to your brain and to your lungs. So literally if you have too much caffeine, you're going to actually do negative effects versus positive effects. So 250 to 300 milligrams is going to be like that level of caffeine that you want to have for like a pre-workout, if you're going to have one at all. It's really up to you. User beware, I guess. Tip number 4 is going to be have a plan going into the gym, as far as if you're going to train chest and tries, you're going to train back and bis, you're going to just do legs, whatever it is, have an idea of what you're going to do. I can't tell you how many people that I've talked to when they come into the gym first thing and I'm like, hey man, what you working out today? And they're like, I have no idea. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not a good thing, because you don't just want to like make some shit up when you go out on the workout floor, when you show up to the gym. You should have an idea of what you're going to train and like what your plan of attack like really is going to be at the end of the day. For the next tip, this one is not something that I actually did, I'm not going to lie, but I know it's very helpful. So tip number 5 is going to be have a workout journal. If you work out with like a personal trainer or a coach, they're probably going to ask you to keep one. The reason being it's pretty helpful. So the reason why it's going to be pretty helpful, it's going to help you remember. So, okay, so I did bench press today and I did 3 sets and 7 reps for each set. Like a real quick bonus thing, because I did have someone ask me recently as well. Not that it's a crazy thing to be asked. And I'm sure most people already know it, but like if you don't, here you go. Here's like a little bonus. That's why I said it's gonna be more than 10. Bonus. is essentially a set is, I should work backwards, I'm sorry. A rep is the number of times, say I'm doing bench press, how many times I actually push the bar all the way up and all the way down. So say I do 7 reps, and that's all I can do. I can't do any more. That's 1 set when I'm done. The next time I go, I'm gonna do however many reps. When I finish that, that's another set. So it'll be set 1, set 2. So sets contain reps, and that's pretty much the way it works. So the point of the journal though, if you have a journal, you're gonna have the ability to say, okay, I did 3 sets of bench press for 7 reps, and I did 200 pounds. And the next time you come back into the gym, you're gonna be able to remember, okay, this is how much I had written down. I know how many reps I did. I know how many sets I did. And you can really track your progress, as well as ensuring that you're not like jumping with your weight around. Like, you don't wanna go in one day and do 200 pounds on a bench press, and you go in the next week and you do 150 pounds because you forgot, I don't know how much weight I was doing. So you wanna be consistent, and it's a good way, like I said, to track your progress and keep everything kind of squared up in your brain. So the next one, excuse me, I'm gonna die today. Number 6, even though it's kind of more like number 7 or 8 by now, but number 6 is going to be, make sure that you have an idea. Again, kind of having an idea is really important when you go into the gym, but have an idea of how many sets and reps you want to do based on your goal. As a quick recommendation for someone who's going into the gym, kind of, I don't want to say like regardless of what you're wanting to do, but if you're the average person going to the gym who wants to lose weight or build muscle, excuse me, you can go anywhere between about 8 sets to about 12 to 15 sets. That'd be my recommendation. I wouldn't go much lower. I wouldn't go much higher. As far as reps, again, that's going to be kind of varied, but usually anywhere between 6 and 12 reps is kind of common for like people that are starting out in the gym. Like I said, whether your goal is to lose weight or put on muscle mass. If the only thing you're trying to do when you go to the gym is doing like strength training, then the amount of sets you're going to do is going to change a little bit. As far as reps, you're going to probably be looking anywhere between 1 and 5, more often like 3 and 5. But that's more specific for someone who's doing like a strength training routine. And again, I'm not an expert at strength training. My goal eventually is to get somebody that I get to interview on an actual live stream who is, so I can get a little more insight for people who are interested in doing that as well. So for the next one, number 7 is going to be don't overtrain. There's a lot of people out there who will tell you you can be in the gym for 2 or 3 hours lifting weights and it's great and grand and everything's good. I'm going to tell you, to be 100% honest, it's kind of bullshit. A lot of people who are able to train that much really can't, and they're kind of just digging themselves a deeper hole and not really giving themselves enough time to recover, and they're doing too much damage to their body. The other thing I would say is just kind of like a side note, no judgment, but just like a friendly side note. A lot of people that are in the gym for that long are using other adult substances that don't need to be mentioned, but they more than likely they are. It's too much time to work out for an average person. So I would say if you're lifting weights for longer than an hour, hour and a half, you're probably lifting for too long, to be 100% honest. Again, I'm not an expert in strength training, so maybe I might be a little bit different in that area. Again, we'll find out sooner than later. The other thing I would say, not just overtraining, but also just don't do dumb shit. I know it's kind of like another tip wrapped in a tip, but for number 7, I would say don't do dumb shit. And by dumb shit, I'm saying don't do exercises that are not like key foundational like movements. I'm not saying just do bench press or squat or deadlifts or like rows, but I am saying that if you're doing like I don't know, like a one arm side deadlift, you might be wasting your time. I'm saying if you're doing a farmer's carry, you might be wasting your time. Unless, again, like you're training for strength or for CrossFit or the Olympics or whatever. But I'm saying for the average person who's getting into the gym, stick to some pretty foundational stuff. Maybe at some point in time, I'll do a video on like foundational things I would recommend as far as for the different body parts. But I mean, again, you can Google it, and the more popular things that you see are going to be more than likely the popular, like common exercises you should actually be doing. So that'd be my recommendation as far as that actually goes. Now for number 8, it should be kind of straightforward, but again, I do think that it kind of depends on how you do it. So for number 8, it's going to be constantly push yourself. Now, the reason why like that sounds so straightforward is because you're in the gym, but it kind of ties back into tip number 5 or 6, which was have a journal. The reason why I say that is that if you're tracking your progress in a journal, and the way you're going to push yourself using that journal is, okay, I'm not saying every time you go back into the gym, when you do bench press, you should be able to do 10 more pounds every week. But what I will say is if last week you did 3 sets for 7 reps for 200 pounds in the bench press, and this week you should shoot for, okay, I'm going to try and do 8 reps or 9 reps with the same weight. If you get to the point in time where you're going over 9-10 reps per set, you can actually add a little bit of weight, add 5 to 10 pounds to whatever lift you're doing. But again, it's just that consistently pushing yourself. As far as like pushing yourself in the gym during your actual workouts, like the mental side of things, it's completely different. But I'm saying like track your progress so that you're pushing yourself to actually get stronger, put on lean muscle mass, getting better at whatever lift or movement or activity that you're doing, regardless of if you're actually like training in the gym or not. That's what you should be doing. For number 9, I almost did number 8 again. Number 9, do cardio. Now this one, again, sounds pretty straightforward, but at the end of the day, regardless of what you're doing, cardio is going to be beneficial. If you're trying to put on lean muscle mass, it's beneficial. You're trying to burn body fat, obviously, it's beneficial. If you're trying to be a strength athlete or an athlete in general, you have to do cardio. Like most people that are athletes already know that, but I'm just saying if you're wanting to get into an activity like powerlifting, Olympic lifting, just putting on lean muscle mass, doing cardio every day is a positive thing. Now I'm not necessarily saying do cardio like an hour or a half hour. It could be something as simple as doing a 15 to 20 minute elliptical stair stepper or doing the treadmill. Love of God, doing the treadmill at the gym for 15 20 minutes 4 to 5 days a week, or walking outside for 20 to 30 minutes, like literally just a normal like fast paced walk. Anything that's going to keep your heart healthy, keep your lungs healthy, and really just kind of keep your overall cardiovascular system healthy as well. It's going to help you in total with whatever your goal is within the gym. Now the last one, tip number 10, even though it realistically is more like tip number 11, 12, or 13, is make sure you recover. So my recommendation as far as for recovery goes, again, especially if you're just starting out in the gym, is make sure that number 1, if you're sore when it's time to go train whatever body part again, if your back's still sore and you're going to train back and bis again and they're both still sore, then you need to reevaluate what you're doing and possibly train something else that isn't sore, or give yourself an extra rest day. Because if you're training when your body's still sore like that, you're just kind of digging yourself a hole, and you're not able to recover as efficiently. As far as within recovery, like going to the gym, like if you're new or newer, would definitely recommend when you get done, have some type of like protein, quick protein or quick carbs. As far as like quick carbs, it's a little bit more hard to explain just because there are like different supplements. But as far as food based, like it sounds really gross, but it's really true. If you have like those little to-go cups of applesauce, it's a really good quick carb. But I wouldn't recommend quick carbs if you're somebody who's trying to lose weight, because it's not as beneficial. If you're trying to put on lean muscle mass, yes, little things of applesauce are amazing. As far as protein, you can have a protein shake if you want. You could skip the shake and skip the fast carbs if you want to too. Just make sure that whether you're having them or you're not having them, ensure that you're having like a solid meal within a half hour to an hour after training. Doesn't really have to include fats within that meal, but I would recommend having, again, like a good quality protein, whether it's steak, chicken, fish, whatever it may be, something that's actually gonna be like substantial, and also have some good carbs. So again, like good carbs could be like potatoes, sweet potatoes. You could even have white rice or white pasta depending on how fast your metabolism is. I know that within the idea of recovery and sets and reps and different like things for starting out, you may have more specific questions. So feel free to message me or send them. I'm gonna come back to my 10 things, but just wanted to throw that out there before I forget, because I know that there is like specific stuff that maybe you're like, well, you said I should have applesauce for post-workout, but I fucking hate applesauce. What else could I possibly have, like if I'm trying to put on lean muscle mass after I train? So feel free to send me those questions or to ask them like in the chat. More than welcome. The other thing I'll tell you about recovery is making sure that you're getting enough sleep. If you're not sleeping enough, more than 6 to 8 hours, like then you're staying up late and partying or doing whatever else, you're not going to recover ideally. You're not going to lose fat as fast as possible, and you're not going to put on lean muscle mass as fast as possible either. The other thing I would say to you, a good analogy with like recovery, especially, is if you're digging a hole 2 feet deep, you dig a hole 2 feet deep, excuse me, as I die. That's you training. So say that you get out of the gym, you don't have anything post-workout, you wait a couple hours to eat, and you sleep kind of shitty. You've now dug a 2-foot hole, and you've put 1 foot of dirt back into it, so you're not ideally recovering. So say instead that you have something to eat an hour after the gym, and you sleep okay, but not enough still. You've now successfully put 2 feet of dirt back into a 2 feet hole. Now, if you have post-workout carbs and protein, if you're trying to put on lean muscle mass, or skipping that altogether if you're trying to lose fat, you have a good quality meal half hour to an hour after you train, and you're getting 6 to 8 hours of like good quality, like deep REM sleep. Obviously it's not all REM sleep, but deep sleep, then essentially what you're doing, you have a 2-foot hole, you put 3 feet of dirt back on it, and you're slowly stacking like it up and up and up and up and up. And you put it on lean muscle mass and you're burning fat faster as you go as well. So those are the quick 10 tips that I do have for starting, I guess not starting in the gym, but more like improving your overall gym experience if you're new or newer to the gym. Again, never going to ask anybody to like or subscribe to my content. What I will ask, and I will always ask, is if you do get any value from this, please share it. If you feel like someone else you know would get value from it, you can directly share it to them. You can tag them in it, whatever, just so they get the information. Or if one of my videos, especially some of the other ones I've done already, or the ones I'm going to be putting out in the future, are humorous, you think it'll brighten someone's day, please share it as well. At the end of the day, my goal, and I say this in every video I feel like at this point in time, is I want to help 100 million people, both in small ways and large ways. Literally, it could be as small as brightening someone's day by making them laugh because I say some stupid shit in a video, or hopefully someday getting a message from somebody saying, hey man, I watched your videos from 2 years ago and it motivated me to start going to the gym, or help me improve myself in the gym, and blah, 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 whatever it may be. So that's the ultimate goal and name of the game for myself. I am going to answer some live questions now on Facebook Live as well as Twitch. So if you want to ask questions live, you can follow me on there. I'll talk to you guys real soon as far as I always say Facebook. As far as the YouTube fam goes, I will talk to y'all soon. Stay healthy, stay safe. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.